Hey everybody, to Jew22 here, and I just wanted to make a quick video, an update video for the upcoming Blue Toad Wrestling shows, all in the lead up to our soon-to-be named Super Show for Money in the Bank. Now, I've decided to, as always, as per custom, make use of playing cards. Playing cards. Standard size. And what these cards have in common is that these cards, depending on what you draw, determines one of 8 matches that you will compete in. And the winners of those 8 matches, 8 men, 8 women. Ultimately, well, we're going to start with 54 men and 54 women. But only one, both man and woman, will go on to become Mr. and Miss Money in the Bank. That being said, though, before I introduce the rules and things of that nature, I may as well show you two new additions to my cave, and the first of which is the little mini fireplace. And of course, this is nice to keep warm during the winter months. But then my aunt gave me this, and she didn't have to do it, but I appreciate the fact that she did. And that is this encased memorabilia for Chris Webber, most especially when he was part of the Sacramento Kings. And it's not just because I'm on a bandwagon or anything like that. I've always been a fan, but up until this season, there hasn't really been much to be excited about. But anyways, we'll show this to you. So, of course, this was when he was in Michigan, then when he was drafted by the Warriors, then when he was with the then Washington Bullets. They later became the Wizards. In fact, that's after they had rebranded. And then eventually he became a Sacramento King. And of course there's a couple of pens and whatnot, but here is the jersey that he wore and signed for my aunt. And of course my aunt at the time was, she and her sister, aka my other aunt, they used to work at the old Arco Arena back in the day when that was still a thing. I mean, of course, we now have the Golden One Center, and it's a beautiful place to go to watch basketball or any other sport. But yeah, man. Of course, there was nothing quite like the old, Arco Arena, and I do remember the 2002 Western Conference Finals, and I still to this day think that we were cheated, but I'm hoping that this team eventually wins the big one. I really hope. But the fact that they are competing for a playoff spot and a top seed at that, it definitely makes me happy. But with all that said, let's get to the rules of the draw. Okay. So I mentioned that depending on what card that you draw, you get to be part of one of, 8 matches. I wish I could have 8 fingers, but I don't have 8 fingers. But you get to be part of one of 8 matches. And of course, if you win that match, you get to be one of 8 finalists. And then it becomes a traditional, 1v1 tournament from there on out. But here's how it goes. So I'm going to show you the cards, and I'll tell you what matches that go with it. Now, I did the drawing behind the scenes, and I have the list with me, but I'm not gonna show you who drew what until the show happens. So in other words, you won't know who drew what until we get to the shows. But to give you an idea of what happens when you draw a certain card, that's what I'm here for. Now, of course, out of all the cards, there are there are only two such cards, and that is the Joker. There's two of them in the deck, and the two people that draw a Joker will go one-on-one to advance into the next round, to the second round, to the Elite Eight. So yeah, whoever draws this and the other Joker will face off one-on-one in a one-on-one match, obviously. Okay. But then there are other cards. Now, in some games, this card is considered wild, and that would be the deuces, or the twos. And the four lucky, and there's four in the deck, and the four lucky people that draw a two will face off against each other. Very self-explanatory. And the same thing goes with the aces. And of course, the four people that draw an ace, regardless of the suit, will face off against each other. Very self-explanatory. And same thing with the eights. So, I mean, we had aces and eights. All those cards have been considered wild cards, like crazy eights, deuces wild, and even at times aces wild. So those are just the, three cards that have been in one shape or form considered wild. But anyway, the eight people, or the four people that draw an eight will face off against each other in a fatal four-way match. Now, if you draw anything else, if you don't draw a Joker, an ace, a two, or an eight, and you draw any of the other cards, one of each suit, by the way. Obviously, if you draw a club, then you'll face off against the other 9 competitors that drew a club that was not a 2, an 8, or an ace. Same thing with the diamonds. Same thing with the sevens, the hearts and the spades. There are 10 such cards in which they're not 2s, 8s, or aces. There are 10 other cards per suit. And those and the individuals that draw these such cards will be part of 10-man rumbles. So the winner of each of those matches, as I've said, will get to go to the Elite Eight. And then that's where Tournament Madness comes in. And that is, it's a one-on-one tournament from there on out. And the 2 finalists will meet at Money in the Bank, or the paper, or the Super Show named after it. But that's pretty much the gist of how it works. But other than that, though, this is the Blue Toad, Deju22, signing off, and I hope to see you for the first show of our road to Money in the Bank. Peace out, everybody.